village of peasants in medieval England typically housed 10 to 60 families. Each family had their own hut, which was very cheaply made because, being that they are peasants, they didn't have the means to live any other way. Many houses would use a curtain rather than a door, because quality wood was quite expensive. Glass was also often too expensive for peasants, so most windows in their huts were simply just holes in the wall. Besides a simple wooden frame, these huts were constructed using all natural things. A mixture of mud and straws called daub was plastered around the wooden frame and used as the roof. The straw was used to help with insulation, and the mud was used to hold materials together. The mud would then harden in the sun and create a sturdy roof. Straw was also used as flooring of these huts. Even some of the beds were made of straw or leaf-stuffed mattresses. This attracted bugs, including fleas and lice, which helped create a very unsanitary living situation for these medieval peasants. Another factor in the unsanitary homes was the fact that most farm animals, including pigs and chickens, stayed inside the house with the families every night to prevent from being attacked by wolves or bears. These animals brought in dirt as well, and also more lice and fleas. Farm animals also used the bathroom wherever they pleased, so at nights while locked inside, the house is where they would do their business.
Peasants faced a hard life. Usually associated as farmers and craftspeople, many peasants worked as farmers. They would exchange their labor and produce for land rented out by the lords. When a peasant worked under a lord, they were not allowed to move away from the land nor change professions unless they became freemen. Even so, freemen still required to pay some sort of rent to the lord. Around the mid-14th century, the Black Plague hit Europe. After the plague, numerous peasants died, so the lords tried their best to keep the ones they had. Besides the difficulties caused by the Black Plague, peasants faced hardships when working in the lord's manors. As a result, peasants have had multiple revolts. The most popular one would be Wat Tyler's Rebellion in the year 1381. Peasants had to work long hours to ensure their family had a roof under their head. The imposition of poll taxes would increase taxes paid by peasants. This reasoning was the immediate cause to the rebellion.
Peasant jobs on the farm. The daily life of a peasant started in the summer as early as 3 a.m. A peasant would start with breakfast, usually of pottage. They would then go out and work in the fields or on the land, starting by dawn, and the daily life of a peasant included the following common tasks: reaping, to cut crops for harvest with a sickle or reaper; sowing, the process of planting seeds; plowing, to break and turn over earth with a plow to form a furrow; binding and thatching; haymaking, cutting grass and curing it for hay; threshing, to beat the stems and husks of plants to separate the grains or seeds from the straw; hedging, creating boundaries. Outside work finished at dusk. Working hours were therefore longer during the summer months. Peasants made some of their own tools and utensils using wood, leather, and the horns from cattle. Women generally ate when her husband and children had finished and had little leisure time. About 9/10 of the people were peasants, farmers, or village laborers. Only a few of these were freemen peasants who were not bound to a lord and who paid only a fixed rent for their land. The vast majority were serfs and villeins. Theoretically, the villeins had wider legal rights than the serfs and fewer duties to the lords. However, there was little real difference between the two.
Although peasants led very laborious lives, the little free time they had available, which usually consisted of Sundays and the off-seasons of farming, could have been filled with dancing, wrestling, gambling, and even sports. Some of these sports included stickball, soccer, hockey, and an early and crude version of football with weak equipment that managed to get the job done. The church during this time brought a sense of community within all social classes. The church played a large role in providing celebratory events such as festivals with jousts, music, fights, and plays. Some churches also taught kids how to read if the kids weren't already working. Kids wouldn't have very difficult jobs, but they did do simple tasks such as weaving wool or protecting the crops from birds, In their free time, they would play like how kids do today with dolls and toys or even versions of game boards.